Hi everyone, Brandon here with Galway Precision. We're going to be doing a little shooting today. SAR USA, we spoke with them at SHOT Show this year, and they were very interested in some aftermarket parts. So they sent us a sample gun. I did put a mag through it yesterday with Tula. I've got 100 rounds sitting over there. I've got 50 rounds of Tula 115. Got some Spear Lawman, TMJ 115. So we're gonna put up some targets and we're just gonna shoot. We haven't made any parts for it yet or anything. We're just gonna do a little testing with the gun, see how it shoots, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get some targets hung and get to shooting. All right, so we got our first target up, BC-27 target, no big deal. Just standard man-sized target. IRIT target. Yesterday I put 15 rounds of Tula and about same amount, 15 rounds of Winchester 124 NATO through it, so it's already had 30 rounds through it, and that was sent to us straight from SAR. Got it home, had the chance yesterday to pull it out and put two mags through it, just see how it was going to do, and then it started raining, so I went in. That's right, call me a pansy, I don't care. I don't got to be out in the rain anymore. That's the best part about it. But we're gonna finish off that box of Tula that we only took 15 rounds out of, and we've got that whole box of Spearman TMJ, so we're gonna go through right around 75-ish rounds today, and we're gonna see if we have any malfunctions, any stoppages. I don't think we will, and I gotta be honest with you guys, this little gun's actually, it's like a Glock and an M&P came together and made the perfect baby, because I mean the slide and the internals pull apart and go, oh well, I see where that came from. But the grip, the oversized beaver tail fits really well, like an M&P, and part of this video will be Monday or Tuesday when I'm back in the shop. We'll go over some of the pretty cool little things, as well as some of the function of the SAR9 as it sits and sells right now. But I gotta tell you, my personal opinion on the thing, you know, you're talking about a self-defense or home defense or car defense pistol for under 300 bucks that shoots as well as this thing does. Definitely worth the money. So let's get down here and let's pop off some rounds. First full mag Tula, 15 feet. So as you can see, grouping's actually nice. Straight out of the box as usual. I got my couple flyers down there. But a majority of those are 1-2, 1-2, touching each other in the same hole. So we're gonna put a pause on it. We're gonna reload the mag because we left the other mag at work, so Eric could go ahead and get started on a magazine extension for it over the weekend, and we'll bust off some more Tula. We'll start probably around center mass, put one in the head as we go. Now before we put this next mag of Tula through, I did want to go over one of the Quirks. All right. So as you can see from the magazine, it says 15 on the back, okay? This is actually a 17 round mag. Now when you do have all 17 rounds in, you're not compressing that 17th round at all. It ain't, that thing ain't moving, okay? Yesterday, the only reason I fired 15 was because I was unaware of the fact that it is actually a 17 round mag instead of 15. That last group that we shot was all 17 rounds, didn't have malfunction, so with the exception of one round, let's put the last of the Tula in, and then we'll move on to the Spear. right, still not a single malfunction. Shoots really well. I mean, honestly, it shoots real flat. I like this little gun. I'm liking this little gun a lot. So let's start up with the Spear Lawman TMJ and see what she does. All right. So what we're gonna do with the TMJ, this a little bit. We're gonna do nothing but put it in the face. Okay. So we'll start around 7 area and move our way up. We'll go boom, 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 pretty much. All right. All right, so here we go. Not too bad, other than our little flyer there. Kept it all inside the head and just mag dumped it. So let's bring the camera down here and we'll do a couple little shots of how the recoil functions. And then what we'll do is we'll pull this target down and we'll use the actual target stand for what it's for and have some fun with it. Alright, so there's my manly chest and my lovely beard there for you to see, but we're gonna go ahead and get the gun in frame. I'll let you see some of how it's recoiling. And honestly, their guide rod system is pretty interesting, and that's something we'll go over tomorrow in the shop when we're on the bench and everything. But I think you'll notice during the firing that the way their recoil system's set up, it's a little bit different than everybody else's, and that's why it works so well. So here we go. All right, so let's get our last mag up. We're gonna tear down our BC27 target here. We're gonna put up the clay pigeons and shoot the steel with the last 16, counting the 1 2 round, 17 rounds, so the last mag for today, and see what she does. I need to put some more holes in it, but this is one of the target stands that I made for my firstborn. She's wanting to get into 3-gun at the ripe old age of 11. Oh, knock the camera over. And this forces her to be able to move her M&P 1522. Where the idea originally came from was, while I was still in, we had what we called snail boards for Bradley gunnery, and they were set up in the motor pool. You just sit in the turret and you follow the lines. Forces you to learn how to use the turret smoothly and everything else. Same principle, hunting for targets, but you got to transition quickly. So we're gonna take our last 17 rounds. We're gonna bust some of these targets up, shoot our steel right there, and just have some fun with it. But gotta say, guys, this is a really impressive little pistol. Really is. Definitely worth the price tag, and for a good defensive gun for under 300 bucks, can't go wrong. So let's do it. Well, that backfired. Alright, so this time we'll shoot the steel last. So our last 16 rounds, nothing but Spear Lawman 115 TMG. Two of them fell out. So fun little pistol, guys. Really had a good time with the SAR today. Definitely gonna have to get some different rate, some different grainage 9, get some 124, some 134, some 147. But I can tell you right now, straight out of the box, very good pistol, very impressive. Points right, shoots right. Sights are a little lacking, but again, this is under a $300 gun. There's going to be aftermarket sights, there's going to be aftermarket parts from us. We're going to be able to do some really cool and exciting things with the grip inlays on the sides with our 3D printers. So I mean, honestly, this may be my next low cost budget carry gun. I mean, whether I carry it on me or keep it in the car, dude, for around 300 bucks, this is a really good deal. And they're trying to get into the same market that Canik has already cornered, in that they make an affordable weapon that is actually really good quality. I think for a long time, people have attributed things coming out of the Middle East, weapons-wise, as just garbage, but honestly, the Turks have been making weapons since the Ottoman Empire. I mean, they've got it down pretty well. They're actually very good at what they do. And, I mean, yeah, you can tell, not gonna lie. I mean, you can look inside, and you can definitely see it's Turkish made. I mean, you can see some of the machine marks. But honestly, that doesn't really matter. You get people who get caught up in that kind of stuff, and as you can see, I didn't lube it. I literally pulled this thing straight out of the box, handed Eric a magazine to get an extension started over the weekend, and then brought it home to test fire it. So, I gotta say, it's very impressive. It's very impressive. Feels good in the hand, sits right in at least my hand. I do like the pseudo magwell built into it, and so I gotta say, very impressive, guys, very impressive. And Canik's gonna have a serious competitor now with SAR. So we're hoping they sent us this, they want parts, so we're hoping to get a good relationship with them. We'll test the B6 next. If they like the parts we're making, they want us to make parts for their other series. I think the B6 and B6 Compact would be pretty cool to get into. And that's going to be it, guys. So we'll see you on the bench tomorrow or Tuesday. And by the time you see all this up on the YouTube video, on the YouTube channel, we should have a pretty good, well-grounded understanding of some of the design features and why this is definitely a good buy. So we'll see you in a couple hours. All right, so yesterday we did the shooting. Today we're going to take the SAR9 apart, disassemble, reassemble, complete, go over some things, and we'll talk about some of the stuff we're going to be coming out with for it. All right, so you need a 1/16 punch, small flathead screwdriver, brass and polymer hammer, and a 3/32 punch, and your bench block. So let's go ahead and drop mag, locked and clear. We are visually and physically empty. Go ahead and take down the slide, and we'll start with it. Alright, so the guide rod in this thing's pretty gnarly. Longest sleeve I've seen on one in a while. Really, your outer guide rod spring is what you get a lot of the recoil reduction from. What the main spring does is make sure it goes back into battery. So it's very odd that they use this long, but it works well. So we'll be doing guide rods, of course. And as you can see, the front sight, we'll take Glock front sights. Okay, rear sight, I'm going to go out on the limb and say probably M&P series rear sight. All right, barrel, standard 4.25 inch barrel. Yeah, I imagine someone will probably start making threaded barrels for these once they take off on the market. So very similar to any other striker fired, how it breaks down. You take your flathead, you're going to push in on the sleeve so you can get the back plate going. Keep your thumb over it, because one thing it does have different is they've created a pocket with a spring and a small metal plunger that keeps pressure on the back plate. Alright, so we can pull that out, and as you can see, standard striker. Already comes with maritime cups equipped, which is a big deal, because usually there's not maritime cups that allow garbage to get out of the way of the striker. Standard Glock style striker and a sleeve. But we'll be doing a spring kit for the strikers and whatnot. So let's go ahead and take off our extractor. Now the extractor on this thing, the spring is for real, okay? Make sure you keep your thumb over your blocker and pop that out. Comes with a pretty standard blocker. We've already got one blocker that'll just about fit this, so we're going to change the drawing up. We'll have a blocker for it soon, and spring kit. So the extractor also acts as the loaded chamber indicator. And that's it for the slide. I mean, it's very simple, basic. I like it a lot that way, because the more basic you can make something like this, the better it's going to function in the long run. It's when you start adding a whole bunch of garbage to something that you start getting, when you got too many moving parts, it's when you start running into trouble. And then assembly is pretty simple. We're going to put our blocker back in first, extractor spring, extractor over it, hold it in place, and get our roll pin. I did mess up our roll pin the other day when I got too excited stripping it down, so I made sure to put that side back in, but I did that before I ever even shot the thing 125 rounds without an issue. So I like it. It's a gun that's grown on me very quickly. And then you just put it back together like you normally would, and you take your 3/32 and push your plunger to where it flips out like that. And find it on the floor. Little metal plunger. Make sure you keep a magnet handy if it goes flying off like that. Make it easier to find. Instead of our 3/32, we'll grab a big old 5/16, so we can get that thing enough surface area to get pushed to where it'll hold like that with the back plate, and then we'll finish pushing it in with the 3/32. And your slide is back together. So we're done with the slide portion. We'll set the slide off to the side. Alright, now we will start on the frame. Now, one of the things I do like, and for us in the 3D printing part of things is really great, is that it has interchangeable palm swell and back strap. It actually comes with the tool in the box, which of course I have already managed to lose. That you put in here and knock the pin out so you can change the back strap. Alright, and it comes with small, medium, and large. Same thing with the palm swells. But here's what I'm excited about. It's stupid, it's kitschy, but we'll be able to make some stuff that will replace the center circle with something else. I don't know what yet. Pretty much whatever I can dream up and get laser engraved, we'll have. And we'll probably do some 3D printing of some actual just inserts with different texturing on them and stuff. So I like that part a lot. What I've got on here is all the small palm swells and the small palm or back strap. And I gotta say, even in the medium, it's not that bad. I just prefer to be able to get my hands around the weapon, as opposed to some people like a wider grip, a longer front to back grip. But that's one of my main things about this grip, is the way they've designed the grip frame. Fits really well in my hand. And I think it's going to fit really well in a lot of people's hands. So let's go ahead and strip everything down. Alright, so first things first, we'll knock out our locking block pin. Alright, we'll set that off to the side. Now, the takedown, you're just going to tap it enough, because here's the tricky part. You got to push in on the takedown and relieve pressure on that bar at the same time you're pushing it. Okay, can't just beat it out of there. It's going to tear some stuff up if you do. So I like to get it started to where the takedown's popped out on both sides like this, and then we just pop it over the edge. Alright, see how it just popped off like that? It is flexible. Don't over flex it. You don't want to break it. But then it exposes this to where all you've got to do is you can take and depress the takedown plunger and just push that right on out and slowly let the takedown plunger up. And there's the takedown plunger and spring. Alright, so now we're going to remove our safety. Take it, stick it upside down. Take your 1/16 punch. This thing is not stuck like it does. It gets stuck on the Canucks. It comes out fairly easy, so don't go whacking the hell out of it, because what'll happen is it'll pop off and bounce off your bench or bench block, and it's tiny, so it's hard to find. Alright, now here's the tricky part about this. When you look down in here, you can see that there is a square piece on the safety. Alright, so you'll start by wiggling it up and down in about 14-15 degree angle. And then it gets here to this part of the fire control unit, and you got to turn it to more of a 45. And then when it gets here where you can see it, you got to push down on the unit while you just kind of twist this thing back and forth, and usually going down it'll pop out. And the reason being, I don't know how well we'll be able to see this, but there's a detent. You hear that? That's for the safety. Alright, so now we've got all that out, and go ahead and pull out the entire chassis. Alright, so that's it. That is your grip frame right there. The mag release does look to be reversible, and you would do it just like you would a Glock. Go in here, push the mag release spring, pop it out, flip the grip, or flip the mag release around, put the spring back. Right. Now, here's where this thing gets interesting. All right, on the bottom here, before I take it apart, you'll notice this set screw. Don't ever mess with this. What the set screw is, that's what's giving the spring tension to the detent for the safety. So you don't need to take that out. We're not going to be making any parts that replace that. Now, notice it's all held together pretty good. Fire control unit moves. The way they're doing this is the tension that the trigger pivot holds the whole thing together. So when you go to knock that out, it takes a little force and give it a good hard tap, and it'll slide right through. Notice the whole thing comes unlocked. Alright, so when you go to pull out your locking block, it's going to go from the top. Your fire control unit is going to go from the bottom. Okay. Now the locking block is very simple. It's just the locking block. You've got the spring, you've got your slide lock. And this, another thing you're not going to turn or mess with, what that is, if you look down in there, it's the spring-loaded detent for the locking block pin. Okay. So we've got that out. So very similar to a Nano or 320 style setup with the rails. Alright, blind pin. We're going to be doing a trigger for it. So when we do the trigger, you will have to drive your blind pin out the opposite side. No big deal. So let's take the trigger off. Glock style set up on the inside for the most part. I already tried Glock. Connector didn't fit. Ruger SR connector that we sell didn't fit. So, and then you got your changeable ejector. I imagine they'll come out with a 40 at some point in this thing. But yeah, we'll definitely be trying to get trigger connectors made at some point, depending on how well this pistol sales in the US. We're definitely going to be doing a trigger probably in the next 2 weeks or so. Some of the springs, we already have other springs for other kits that'll fit and work in this. So we should have a spring kit pretty lickety split for this thing. But I was very impressed with it, guys. I mean, like I said yesterday, for under 300 bucks, 300 and under, it's a great gun. You can't really go wrong. So now we're going to go ahead and put everything back together. So we're going to respring our trigger bar and get it put back in place. Now I like to start with the locking block first and get it all pressed in, because everything that's going on with this spring, the spring likes to fly out, by the way, so be very cognizant of that. It's fun to try and find that. So while you're holding that in, just take and put the trigger in place, and we can go ahead and start the trigger pivot in, which makes the whole process a whole lot easier. And get it started. Now you're going to notice you're going to have to tap it on through, and that's because it's providing tension. It's bringing all this together again. So you want to make sure when you tap it on through that you're equidistant on both sides. One side's not sticking out further than the other. And then you can just take your fire control unit, push it up into place. Now we're ready to reseat the entire chassis back in the frame. Get everything all lined. Ooh. This is the only part that can be a little frustrating, because as you're pushing it in, the trigger bar rides higher than the chassis. So when you're trying to put everything back together, if stuff moves around, it's not that big a deal. Go ahead and just put it in until everything seats correctly. Alright, we're going to start with the front, put our locking block pin back in. And of course we want to make sure that it is also equidistant. It snaps into place where it should. Then we're going to take the takedown, making sure that the flat faces the rear. That's how it grabs the barrel. I'm going to take our takedown pin, go ahead and put it in. Get it on both sides, and you're going to want to match your takedown to the cutout slot. I'll get it started on one side, and then I'll just kind of take my flat, push it down just like that. So that's something else we'll be looking at too. We may try and get something printed up that's a little extended on either side. Just give you a little more something to grab a hold of. Now we're going to put our safety back in last. Alright, now make sure you have it at the correct angle, and you may have to play with it a little. Don't try and force it. Don't beat it through. Just sit here and turn it until it starts doing what you want. No pun intended. Now, once you have it far enough over where you can kick the flat under the trigger bar, just go ahead and start giving it some force, and then you're going to turn it sideways the way it goes for fire and push it straight on through. You'll take your ambi side. We're going to go ahead and put it on. Now what I like to do with these little bitty set screw or roll pins, is get them started in the hole with my magnet, just so it grabs a hold of it like that, and then we can tap it in. And then little hops number 9 will get the brass off there. If you're worried about the brass, just use your polymer side. Now, of course, let's go ahead and seat it with our 1/16. And that's it. We have completely and totally disassembled and reassembled the SAR9. So yeah, guys, very impressive pistol, especially for the money. It's kind of like a Glock and an M&P had the best baby. And this is it. Very M&P feeling back here, very Glockish internally, but a nice decent 5-pound trigger right out of the box, 5.5 pounds. So we're gonna shoot for some spring kits We're going to be doing extensions. That's already being designed as we speak. We're doing guide rods. We're going to do a trigger. Of course, with our guide rods, we'll do what we always do, go up to the highest rate we can until it stalls it. And that's going to be it, guys. That's going to wrap this one up. If you guys got any questions, feel free to email me at tech, that's Tango Echo Charlie Hotel at GallowayPrecision.com. Be sure to follow us on social media here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe below. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Gunstreamer, and Vimeo. And that's it. So as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.